Namo Lokeshvaraya.
All those things of Dharma neither come nor go, to help wandering beings or effort to show to the Supreme Guru and Savior Chinrizi. With respectful three doors, I prostrate constantly.
The perfect Buddha, source of health and happiness, our born wealth of Dharma has been accomplished, and since that depends upon knowing what to do, the Bodhisattva's practice I'll explain to you.
When the rare ship of freedom and riches is won, for us and others to cross samsara's ocean, without any neglect, both the day and night through. To hear, think, and train is what Bodhisattvas do. To our close kith and kin, like water passion sways. To our distant enemies, like fire hatred's blaze. Forgetting discernment, dark ignorance ensues. To cast off homelands is what Bodhisattvas do. Afflictions slowly fade when bad places are shunned. Virtue easily grows where there's no distractions. With clear mind, trust in the Dharma is produced. To stay secluded is what Bodhisattvas do. From each and every dear companion we will part. We will leave possessions for which we strive so hard. Their bodies, guest house, or guest consciousness will lose. To renounce this life is what Bodhisattvas do. When with certain people the three poisons increase, clear thinking and training decline and grow weak. Love and compassion become completely removed. To give up bad friends is what Bodhisattvas do. When attending special people, faults are consumed. Qualities increase like the waxing of the moon. To cherish sublime teachers with greater value. Then our own body is what Bodhisattvas do. Within samsara's dungeons, they themselves are chained. So who the worldly gods have the power to save? Thus in the three jewels undeceiving refuge. To go for shelter is what Bodhisattvas do. The most hard to bear are our sufferings. Shakyamuni taught they are the fruit of bad deeds. Therefore even at the cost of our lives to choose to never do wrong is what Bodhisattvas do. The pleasures of the three realms are light to ungrasp. They fall to peril in a momentary flash. For the unchanging state of freedom absolute. To seek and to strive is what Bodhisattvas do. Since beginning this time, us they have had love for. What good is happiness when our mothers suffer? To free infinite beings by giving birth to. The enlightened mind is what Bodhisattvas do. From desire for pleasure, all suffering cease forth. From thoughts to help others, complete Buddhas are born. To take others' pain as we fully substitute. Our own happiness is what Bodhisattvas do. Even if those by force of greedy obsession steal or have stolen all our wealth and possessions, to offer them our bodies, wealth, and all virtues. Within the three times is what Bodhisattvas do. Even without having done the slightest of faults. If people come along and cut our heads right off, through compassion's power to take their non-virtues. All upon ourselves is what Bodhisattvas do. Even if about us people speak vicious words, and proclaim across the entire universe, with the pure heart of love to express through and through. All their qualities is what bodhisattvas do. At gatherings of masses, even if people expose all our fleeting faults and call us evil, recognizing them as our teachers of virtue. To bow with respect is what bodhisattvas do. Even if those for whom we have cared like our child look upon us as if we are their arch rivals, like a mother for her children stricken with the flu. To love them still more is what bodhisattvas do. Even if equal or inferior beings, under power of pride, degrade us and demean, to show respect for them as we would our guru. Receive on our crowns is what bodhisattvas do. Destitute and by people forever despised, stricken by villains and demons in our lives, still the sin and pain of all beings to assume. With religious hearts is what bodhisattvas do. Although famous and revered by many beings, the great fortune like the god of wealth achieved, to see the grandeurs of existence have no truth. And not reality is what bodhisattvas do. If our enemy or hatred has not been tamed, foes may be vanquished and still escalate, with armies of love and compassion to subdue. Our own stream of mind is what bodhisattvas do. Salty water essence pleasures are much the same. However much enjoys thirst grow and never fade. All things by which longing and desire are produced, to custom of their once is what bodhisattvas do. Whatever their appearance, it is our own mind. Mind's nature transcends conceptions, primeval time. Attributes of something grasping one, grasping two. Not to form in mind is what bodhisattvas do. We're meeting with objects so lovely to the mind, just like rainbows that appear in the summertime. Beautiful things appear, yet see they have no truth. To give up desires is what bodhisattvas do. All agonies are like our child's death in a dream. Illusions as real, we almost weary, with situations of adversity ensue. To see illusion is what bodhisattvas do. We must give our lives for enlightenment. To outer objects really need to be mentioned, with no hope, reward, or karma to bear fruit. To be generous is what bodhisattvas do. If without discipline our goal is not reached, quite laughable a wish to help others would seem, without having any mundane intent pursuit. To large discipline is what bodhisattvas do. For bodhisattvas who wish for virtue's treasures, all doers of harm are like a precious treasure, towards all without having hostile attitudes. To practice patience is what bodhisattvas do. Hearers and self-made rulers work just for themselves, yet strive with the fire on their heads they quell, to rouse diligence, the source of fine attributes. For all beings save is what bodhisattvas do. Understanding through insight while resting calmly, our afflictions are brought to their entire relief. To practice concentration that transcends in truth. The four formless grounds is what bodhisattvas do. Our complete enlightenment cannot be achieved through the first five perfections with wisdom lacking. To practice wisdom with the head and no thought to. These separate spheres is what bodhisattvas do. When our very existence wrong actions without mistakes constantly inquiring into. To abandon them is what bodhisattvas do. If under power of afflictions we discuss other bodhisattvas falsely naming corrupt, to speak of the faults of those who gone into. The great vehicle is what bodhisattvas do. Seeking gain and respect will lead to quarreling. Hearing, thinking, and training, decline and grow weak. To give up clinging to the houses of those who are kin and patrons is what bodhisattvas do. Harsh words make disturbances in others' minds, and lead the bodhisattvas conduct to incline, to give up the harsh words which are unpleasant to. The minds of others is what bodhisattvas do. When afflictions are habits, they're hard to turn back. So with the sword-like cure of mindfulness and grasp, as soon as afflictions like desire are produced, to strike them right down is what bodhisattvas do. In short, in all activities we undertake, we must ask how is my mind in its present state, fulfilling the role of others to continue. Mindful awareness is what bodhisattvas do, to dispel sufferings of infinite beings, understanding the three spheres of purity, to dedicate such earnestly attain virtue. And more enlightenment is what bodhisattvas do, adhering to the teachings of the sublime ones. Sutras, tantras, and explanations are of those wishing to follow the path through. These 37 things that bodhisattvas do. Since I have a poor mind and my learning is weak, scholars will not be pleased by this poetry. Yet since I do from sutras and sublime teachings, these practices are witnessed without mistakes, I believe. Still bodhisattvas' actions are ways of greatness, and it's hard for my poor mind to fathom their depths, for false errors, contradictions, and all the rest. So throwing of patience, I humbly request, may all beings by virtue arising from this, through bodhicitta relative and ultimate, dwelling not in extremes of existence or peace, become the same as our protector Shenesi.
Welcome everyone to day 2 of the Mani retreat, and happy Chokor Duchen to everyone. I want to just let everybody know we are doing a question and answers sessions during this retreat. So please formulate your questions, and if you're here on campus, bring them to the office. And if you're participating online, please email them to registration@garchen.net, and we will have our first question and answer session on August 3rd from 1 to 2 p.m., and there will be a few more question and answer sessions following that, so everyone will have a chance to get their questions answered. And after the morning break today, we will be celebrating His Holiness Kyabgyong Tenzin Kunsang Trinley Lundrup's birthday on this holy day. So be sure to tune in for that.
We begin in our yellow Garchen Buddhist Institute prayer book, page 1, with opening prayers.
All mothers, sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mothers, sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the bodhisattva's path. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all mothers, sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mothers, sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Sadhana, page 5.
Now in the concise sadhana of Chenrezig, we'll begin on page number 5. From the unelaborated, unperceived, and empty state arises my own body as the Noble One's primordially perfected form. Brilliantly white with one face, 4 arms and legs in Vajra position. The first 2 hands are folded at the heart, while the lower right and left hands hold a crystal mala and a white lotus. The indivisible form of the wisdom being and Samaya being is complete with the major and minor marks. On a moon disk at the heart is the letter Shri, encircled by the 6 syllables, which radiate light. These lights transform the outer universe into a boundless palace, and the inner sentient beings into the Noble One's form. All sounds transform into the nature of the 6 syllables, and all thoughts into the state of supreme love.
Dani Manasa, little Holo Gonjoro, the actually Yansi, the Lisa, Doyore, the Divina, the Lisa, Kashian, Matachang, the Nia Cockroach, the check of that, no Hayuna. The Triti, the Rinchi, Alatri, Taragoso from Tachabo, yet not was had you to the Tonta, yet not to touch the Yori. Then a Tontachi gum dowry. Jala gum. Now the Jala is to buy. Jala comes in and Karate, Saba, Nana Saba Saba, somebody. Then I say gum that is one of Manhato Yori, 10 years. Tontachi, there is the Kashigati, Tontati to Zong Suna, is the Kosayang Chadori, Tontar Zambu, Yongdimi, but Juni Jadori. They call it Tata Zongatini, Dara Charlie, Damji, Tontagina, Yang, Matoro, Sotola, or the Tiwangator, Tontati, Muniti, the Nambadi, Tibato, Yomari, something, Sanchuk Sanchuk Tamsin, the Oyori. Say the Chukarina, Lama Yori, Dirtago on the Gen, Namanaso, go, Ramanaso, Hanamanaso, the Tablamanaso, Yori, Consum, Sanga, the Tab Manga, me party, 1.1 way, not just what Chevanta, the thing, Taban was Sangari to worry, the anything, Kangri, the Tamji, Nimbo Kangri. Tajibo Kangna, Lama Chöpa the Toa Nangari, the Lama the Kashin is on the Dzambhala, Kapa Bambawe, Lama Niji Bamba, so I don't need like humor from down your money, Jasira, she might be, that's not really Lama to so good. Lama is touching Boyima, the Tajiko, Lama. They did they community. Lama Chöpa the touching was no glory. Didn't that also from talking? I am drunk, I do with me. Lama Chöpa, the Hattam touching Boyori, community. Lama Chöpa, the remote novel, and it said the Jin Tower. The Lama Chöpa, the Chatang Boyori. Lama the Chatang, what of that Dharma. The Nang. Lama Chöpa, Namati, say Kangma, the Mona de Sanga, the Unity, Matikang Yamis on that country. Lam Sama, Lam Territory, his of the county, the source of the Lord, the Lama Chöpa, the Lady Dona, the state of the Don, the Dana, oh, that there is almost done on the day. There is about Dama, Sabak, Madox, Dama Tamji, take the Dubaris or Portugal. The only language come out of the Lama to Monam, the Dara Tate, like similar Quata, Noa, Quata, young there, the summer of the young. The God of your roaming, I just she got your married. The language, she had a thought you a day, take authority and penguin, the Teranga Lama to Monam, the Ang Shishi, and the young turn to say so in the age of them.
So Dharma friends continue to recite the Mani mantra and visualize the mantra garland at the heart. So this is a very simple way of practicing Chenrezig. And also some people focus only on the mantra recitation, but then they are falling asleep. And you should listen to the meaning of the words I'm sharing. So what we will talk about today, first, there's 4 major lineages in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and all of these different lineages are like a different box. For example, a box that you can store some good Dzambhala in, and then each box has, even though each box has the same content, the outside may look different. They have different paintings on the outside, and so there are some who really uphold their own lineage, and that upholding of the lineage also really increases the prestige of the lineage. But then often it also happens that this good quality becomes a fault
And that happens when we become attached to our own lineage and have an aversion against others. So then we misperceive the other lineages or traditions, and we misunderstand them, or we have only a partial understanding or a completely wrong understanding of them. And so actually, even though we speak about different lineages in Buddhism, ultimately there's really only one lineage, and that is the lineage of love, or bodhicitta. Everything is included within the mind of bodhicitta. Externally, there are many different lineages, many different religions. Different traditions have emerged depending on the mental capacities of those to be tamed. There are different deities, different mantras, different sadhanas, and different skillful means to tame them. It is actually said that the secret mantra is rich in methods, but requires the least difficulty. And it is meant for those, it has spread for those with the sharpest mental capacities. So what is the essence of all these teachings, all these methods? The essence is really included in the Lama Chöpa practice. And then each lineage again has their own Lama Chöpa practice. And so it is said in some of the scriptures, or some of the tantras, that it is better to recollect the guru a single time than it is to visualize the Yidam deities for many aeons. So this is a quote from the tantras, and I do not have much learning in the different scriptures. I don't even know the 37 bodhisattva practices fully. But this is what many of the past masters have said. And it is said that within the guru devotion practice, or the Lama Chöpa practice, everything is included. The guru is the embodiment of all the Buddhas. And that is why the Lama Chöpa practice is considered to be so precious. And so now I, for example, belong to the Jiga Kagyu lineage, and also consider the Lama Chöpa, our Lama Chöpa practice, as very, very precious. It is like, the Lama Chöpa practice is like a precious jewel adorned with gold. It is so precious. And also the Lama Chöpa practice as a practice itself is all-inclusive. It begins with the opening prayer, the Dak Dhamma, the may all enemies who hate me and obstruct us who harm me, and so on. This opening prayer. And then there's the main part of the Lama Chöpa practice. Then there's also the Serkangmam, the Golden Temple prayer. And then there's the Lama Chöpa prayer and the other prayers in the end. Actually, if you would just practice this your entire lifetime, all paths of practice are included within this practice. So the Lama Chöpa practice is concise and all-inclusive. And myself, when I recite this practice of Lama Chöpa and really think about the meaning, I really feel that there is no better instruction, no higher instruction than that. All the essential instructions are included within it. So within the Serkangma, the Lama Chöpa practice, and also the Lama Chöpa prayer. And so what I'm going to explain to you today is the Lama Chöpa prayer, based on my own understanding. As we have said, first we need to understand something, and then when we reflect on that understanding again and again, then an experience will arise. And that's all I'm really sharing. Actually, I don't know so much else, but I am sharing whatever I do know and whatever I have gained a personal experience in, whatever has generated a feeling within me. Because sharing that with others is of actual benefit. So therefore, Dharma friends, I'm going to give an explanation on the Lama Chöpa prayer to the best of my abilities.
마참사 멤버들 강의 전에 이 계속 가디요래 라마들이 라마들 꽁아이 신아이 뭐니서 라마시바들이 저당 라마들은 맨전 통들이 라를 세빈 거죠 라디 세빈 탐지들 가오때 이다 딱 맞는 거죠 라들이 되면 뭐 남이 니 거기 남이지 참놈 라지 남시들 고요래 라다 남신이 데르지지 탐지 드린 거죠 습지고 딱 드릴 가오요 왜 라 습지고 라지 이 가래신 드린 거요리는 되게들이 습지 탐지는 마치고 봤다더니 습지 탐지를 떼어 아마 떼어나지 요래 라마지 라는 습지고 라마는 습지고 마지 텍스티를 라마지 이제 용기 가래지는 진짜 라마지 딱그마 이신아지 뭐가들이 죽을롱 조금 오니까지 이 이신아지 강이 송어야 되네 샘 대신이고 그런 헬드다 얘네들이 제 헬드들이 맞다는더니 자동항아 연구요래 제 철랑 샘을 빼잖아 그런데 라가 샘디라 샘적 나파다고 되고 마다바가서 뉴모가 살고 마음을 가라 미미들이 시간을 줘도 그래 시가지더니 저 그래들이 그 송톡용된 전에가에 사제들 봐라 라마 찍을 털어 라마지 그 송톡용된 트렌지 라마 찍을 거라 대상을 제서 이제 공간 시간을 오니 돈을 라마들더니 라마 그 제대로 공가지 다 강당하더니 돈 생분하죠. 산속 생분하죠. 라마 산속 생 송송을 산속 생 저게 요래. 근데 대는 다 탐제대 라마지 창근 도강 무속들더니 다다 라마 그 송도 또 봐라. 라마 거는 도지고 그쪽거 남만 나서 요래. 데라 다 저쪽거 다 저거 시반더니 나서 저거 그 들이다 데라서 봐. 여 저거 어디 남만나서 제거 거서고 시바 다만 탐지 또 송고요래 송롱 거들 지동다대 용디 송고서 중고래 송롱 거들 송롱 거들이 이 타고 생각하더니 롱송이 망가지서 타고 생담지 민소거들 별라 메도 상우도 민요는 메도도 가도 남만나서 민인 거래 그래서 미벨로 썼지 가는 상우들 민인 거래 상우들 가와요리들 다 가서 생기 탐지를 요래 선 대식이 못돼 민나 그래도 민족을 생기 사지를 미디는 대외는 민소를 남말이 변 메도 사용 타마 메도 죽바리면서 삼마디 로아를 죽다 죽거려야 돼 무슨 로아를 죽다 근데 유몽 적스가 니 성섬 주서바데 세나시당 목숨을 줘봐 도창아지 차도섬데 포리섬데 사람함이 로아를 죽대 마음이 배들이 지향속 생분하도 로아를 독내 값차대 그냥 저 차롱라고 차대 맞아서 저래 동네 되는 거니 차롱대 semplicemente sempre sangue me seni yeni sangue jena jin송게 Lama sem용 와래 sem다 송마틸 라마 차원을 마다리다 고와 차원에 공장만 송만하지 대로 저들이 그마 이신가든지 너나 라마를 찾아도 없어 일단 라마 좁아나 대성구요래 아호 총성거들죠 그겐도 송남지 속상지 속성거들지 그 나를 뛰는 라마는 냠설랑을 벌써냐더라고는 그쪽거지 그다 동야를 아 송롱거들이 로주도 지는 조름 잡으려면 송이용거요 톡 죽거들이 세진선지 상계에는 잡도 치는 차롱전에더니 차롱전에 차롱도 잡소리 차롱 나가서 삼소리 잡소리 탑소 톡 죽거지 거성군을 했죠 거성지 그것도 송롱고 톡송 그 죽거지 거성군들이 있어 딱성군들이 딱성군들 라마 송이랑 통카로지 제 송무 감이송 취소무 감이 일단 이람 계를 나서 와도 송이 연구요래 대답은 되니 작성 건지 구성 건지 중달들이 또 구성 건지 되니 또 죽어를 되고요. 죽어야 되니 다다 죽어 남 갔다고 소문이 그래서 라마를 탐지되어 거가 신가지 반드시 먹고는 대답이 차대요. 대그래 대다 서야 되는 다 그쪽거든 지금 감는 것들이 그것도 라마 개비신이 탐지 문제인 거고요. 대민이들이 막 제일 사실은 중앙에 산게 참아 죽고 차대요. 다 붙었거든 마다 붙고 이 자은 거들이 대변을 꽁마이 시간들아 하던 고함만 모르지 다다 탐지기 가시 저든 용거 대는 진짜 쓴 거요. 다른 뭐 또다도 다 되지.
So then the first line in the Lama Chöpa prayer says, embodiment of all the victorious ones of the 10 directions in 3 times, essence of the 5 kayas and 5 wisdoms. So the Guru is the embodiment of all the Buddhas of past, present and future, and the 10 directions, which are the 4 cardinal directions, then the 4 intermediate directions, and then the upper and the lower direction. And so therefore what 10 directions refers to being all pervasive, being everywhere. So the Guru has the nature of all the Buddhas of the 3 times and 10 directions, and also the 5 kayas and the 5 wisdoms. So first of all, this name Guru, so in Tibetan it is Lama. What does this name actually mean? La, the first syllable, refers to, it says he is the vital energy or the conscious energy of all sentient beings. Because sentient beings always think of the Guru. The Guru is always, the Lama is always in their mind. So he is like the conscious energy. We even dream of the Guru at night. So we can understand this La to be like the conscious, sort of conscious aspect of someone's mind. And then Ma is that why are sentient beings always thinking of the Guru? It is because the Guru loves all sentient beings just like a mother loves her only child. So that is the meaning of Lama. And the qualities of the Lama is that he possesses or is the embodiment of the 5 kayas and the 5 wisdoms. So we have the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya and Svabhavikakaya, and then we have the 5 wisdoms. For example, Buddha nature is like a crystal ball, and when the sun shines on a crystal, 5-colored rainbow lights emerge from it, which is like the 5 wisdoms. There's one mind that is like space, and from this space-like nature, 5 kind of qualities manifest, the 5 wisdoms. When the mind is in an immature state, then what manifests from this mind are the 5 afflictive emotions. That is in the impure or immature state. When the mind has become matured, then these 5 afflictions become the 5 wisdoms. So these are the 5 wisdoms, and sometimes we speak about 4 kayas, sometimes 5 kayas, but the Guru embodies them all. And so ultimately, in brief, it is said that the Guru is the embodiment of bodhicitta. We often say that the actual Guru is bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is considered the actual Guru. And now when we think about these qualities of the 5 kayas and wisdoms and so on, we have to reflect how they really are complete within the Guru. So first we have the kayas. The Guru's outer form is the Nirmanakayam. And there are many teachings on the Nirmanakaya. There are many different forms of Nirmanakayas. For example, there is the incarnated Nirmanakaya and the created Nirmanakaya and the manifold Nirmanakaya and so on. So we have mentioned them in the past already. So the form is the Nirmanakayam. Then the speech is the Sambhogakayam. And it is said that the Sambhogakayas dwell in the Pure Lands and are endowed with 5 certainties. And the Sambhogakayas represent the matured form of the mind. Just like when a seed has matured or grown into a flower with many different colors, flowers maturing, growing into many different colors, and all these qualities are included within the seed. So a Sambhogakaya is this seed that has ripened into the flower. And where really is that? Actually, the Sambhogakaya ultimately is within the mind of all sentient beings. Ultimately, the Sambhogakaya is connected to the Dharmakaya, and it is Buddha nature. All sentient beings possess Buddha nature. And when Buddha nature matures, then all sentient beings mature into Buddhas. Or when they mature into, the mind matures into the actual guru. So even though there's different flowers, they are all ultimately the same. And also the sentient beings in the 6 realms of samsara are actually all Nirmanakayas, in the sense of being like a Turku is a Nirmanakaya. They are emanations. They are emanations of the 6 afflictive emotions. The sentient beings living in the 3 lower realms are the emanations of stinginess, hatred, and ignorance. And then the sentient beings living in the 3 higher realms are the emanations of attachment, jealousy, and pride. So that is the mind in the immature state. The sentient beings and the 6 afflicted, the 6 realms are the natural manifestations of the afflicted mind, afflicted by the 6 afflictive emotions. So temporarily the mind has become like ice, water that has frozen into ice. But in reality, there is no real ice. Ice is really water. And that is the ultimate nature of the mind. Sentient beings' mind is actually primordially the Buddha, even if they have not realized that. And realizing that, one's own mind matures into the guru's mind. From an impure perspective, and the mind remains impure, it continues to wander in samsara. This is also explained clearly in the Samantabhadra prayer. In a praise to the guru, it is then mentioned that the guru is the embodiment of all the kayas. So first, the guru is the embodiment of all the jewels. First, the guru is the embodiment of the 3 jewels. That is, the guru's body is the Sangha, the speech is the Dharma, and the mind is the Buddha. And then according to the Tantric system, the body is the Nirmanakaya, that we can actually see the physical form. The speech is the Sambhogakaya, because through the speech the Guru explains the practices of generation and completion, and so forth. And then the mind is the Dharmakaya. And that is the mind of a sentient being once one attains enlightenment. When one attains enlightenment, the ice block melts into the ocean. So one merges into one with the Dharmakaya. And then also in the context of the path of the 3 roots, the Guru is also the embodiment of the 3 roots. And so here then the Guru's form is the Lama, the speech is the Yidam, and the mind is the Dakini. And so the speech is the Yidam because the Guru explains the nature of the Yidam deity and how to practice deity yoga or the generation stage. So in this way, the Guru is the embodiment of the 3 jewels, the 3 roots, and then also the 3 kayas. The 3 kayas at the end, in the context of the ultimate fruition. Ultimately, the 3 kayas all gather into the Dharmakaya, the space-like Dharmakaya. So there have been many explanations in the past on how the Guru is the embodiment of these jewels and the kayas and the five kayas or the 5 wisdoms and so on. So how do we recognize this guru? The form is the Nirmanakayam. So what is that actually? We should recognize any spiritual master, any guru in this world as a Nirmanakaya. Actually, according to the tantric teachings, even the elements, earth, water, fire, and wind, and so forth, are all the deity, are all Nirmanakayas. In fact, everything is Nirmanakaya. There is pure and there is impure Nirmanakayas. So there's actually many ways to explain just this one line on the 5 kayas and the 5 wisdoms. And all of you listen to teachings on an ongoing basis. You have listened to many teachings. So today, I will only introduce this to you.
남시 맘통 이신 통 샘지 맘통 상제 통제 샘지 탐지 상제를 가리게 통제네 샘지 탐지 샘지 내록도 통제니 사막 상제에 샘고 내록도 되는 마도로 샘지리 먼저 보면 나서 되니 regular 상제에 말 샘지 고랑 창데 이제 또 봐도랑 또 될 가다 되나 다 건가 이시가지 가리 남시 이시는 보는 들이 뭔가 되니 이 시간은 열토고요. 왜 가래를 되더란 거지. 따도들이 강사지나. 이 따왕 남자가 때니 유무가 강제나더니 명이 되는 이 밤에가 이 시간은 무슨 명이 쳤고요. 시당은 메롱다위 시지. 별이 시당 친구들 나오나 깝더니 라고 공장 양이더니 뭐하지나. 하정 싸우더니 생각하고 묘목에서 봐. 당연히 묘목이 시해야 돼. 그러나 다 죽거든요. 묘목이 죽으면 묘목이 시해야 돼. 신소 마음이 맞으시나? 이 신소대 싸우 카오르베 싸지 신소를 도와가는 거면 마음이 신소 미마음이 이제 미마음이 신소 쪽발 미마음이 제발 미 싸울 미는더니 내lok도를 주박하면 매송더니 그게 롱신하면 또 양민 탐색은 세분내로 또 고성들이 짜대. 제 또라들이 뭐마디 시간을 매 쪼고요. 이제 양명도 미고요. 대신에 다 뭐마디 시간에 제 미소 대랑 저거들이 딱 보시면 다 통수고요. 이 사제 용지 하고 노학할 대근이래서 대문을 때 빠지 대통령 어떤 인사에서 사실 록도지들 왔다 줄에서 취들 들쳐 이 마체 놓으려 배나 대체 또 먹을 때 되니까 로아도 성서 또 먹을 때 던져 이 당시 냐와 선나를 때는 이다지 이 성도 내가 마음이 빠지 되는 차 놓으려 유몽도 이 시방에 제발대라는 제속고요 대 제도는지 다이 시간 유몽이 시래서 그냥 너무 고래지.
So, regarding the 5 kayas and the 5 wisdoms, what is the difference between the afflictive emotions and primordial wisdom? That is actually the root to understand. If you understand this, then you have really gained a very good understanding. And you can understand this only on the basis of a direct experience. So you need to experience how the ordinary consciousness, the dualistic consciousness, transfers or transforms into primordial wisdom. Milarepa said, I do not see consciousness, I only see primordial wisdom. I do not see sentient beings, I only see Buddhas. And how does he only see Buddhas? It is because he sees the mind of all sentient beings. And someone who has realized the natural state of the mind will see everyone as a Buddha, because that is their true nature. And then, even if they have not realized that temporarily, it is only a difference of having or not having realized it, what they really are, but that's still what they are. In the Samantabhadra prayer, it says, when you recognize it, you are a Buddha. Not recognizing it, you are a being wandering in samsara. So it is just a matter of recognizing or not recognizing it. Now, someone who has recognized the natural state of the mind, they will recognize the meaning of the 5 kayas and the 5 wisdoms, because their dualistic consciousness has transformed into primordial wisdom. Or the 5 afflictions have transformed into the 5 wisdoms. So a person who has realized the view, now someone who rests within a meditative state of the view, when within that mind, when an afflictive emotion arises, it will not affect that person in any way. It is rendered powerless. And the afflictive emotion will in fact mature into one of the 5 kinds of primordial wisdom. For example, anger matures into the mirror-like wisdom. So a person who rests in the natural state of the mind, even if a strong anger arises in them, they will be able to sustain the state of meditation, the meditative equipoise, without wavering from it. And then when anger arises within such a state, actually it will generate an experience of great joy, and they will even be able to laugh out loud. And then they will gain the experience that, oh, actually that affliction is really primordial awareness or wisdom. So this experience is essential. It's not enough to just say that afflictions are primordial wisdom. If you just say that without actually experiencing that, it is just like eating an unripe piece of fruit. It won't have any good flavor and will just be sour. You can't really eat it. So we have to actually ripen and mature the mind to experience it. So the unripe fruit and the ripe fruit are still the same fruit. It is just one is not matured enough. The omniscient Longchen Rabcham had said, aside from realizing the natural state of the mind, there is no higher learning than that. So that's really the essence of it. We need to understand that the 5 afflictive emotions can ripen, mature into the 5 wisdoms. And they ripen through personal experience, so that you really experience how the afflictive emotions have become primordial wisdom. And then to someone who has realized that, to them, naturally the Pure Lands will become manifest, and they will begin to understand the qualities of a Buddha. And they will gain complete certainty that this is how things really are. Now, someone else who might have some faith in that, they might still have doubts in their mind, and they might just think that this is probably how it is. And then someone who has a wrong view, they will just think, oh, this is all a lie, this is all not true. And by thinking in this way, they're really cutting themselves off from the truth through ignorance. And after 6 afflictive emotions, ignorance leads to birth as an animal. Hatred leads to birth in hell. Stinginess leads to birth as a hungry spirit. So the 3 lower realms are temporarily in this unripe or immature state. So we need to understand how we can mature the afflictive emotions into primordial wisdom. And like, what is the difference between afflictive emotions and primordial wisdom? So for that we need to gain a direct personal experience.
Semi tukji tle yong la chap song. Semi be tukji shiwa de kang le jini. Ni zin yong ma re. Oh, saje se ni yu ka da ji ni ka ka ma re. Ye na ma to ba ka ne cha ma de sa. Jam chin nang cha rom do. Lam tok nam ka da de sa ma do dong wen gang song. Tok dong ni shiwa de ni zin mi wa de dong ni. De le de ni me ba me me ni je de. 这样就甚至多嘛你搞差了的人，现在这个差别我的多年你过去，因为别人可能对说偷的了的，那么偷的就把被接到了，多年你过去了，车没被偷接的，车没把这讲的呢， 남과 가와 요나더니 다 아마 또 차거래지. 죽어 남과지도 예미도 가서 차비요래지. 뒤에다 서서 셈미담처럼 셈 대식인 뭔데 라마 셈다 차비요나. 그 로얼은 쳐봤더니 남도 누구도 지만지마. 이 박차들이 뒤에 로얼 동네가 차오래. 오, 이 박차들이 가이게 쇼고 박차 타면 나디니 송데 나디니 송 나디디 강의 쇼고 힘지게 쇼고도 없잖아. 그래 라마 또 돈이 인기고 세배배 두게 남가 가는 라마 셈드나 요래지. 라마 셈드 라마 가지지는 라마 인기 좋대 요래지. 좋대 가리다 삼제래지. 늘 가리시는 가지는 라마 산속선을 쏘는데 다다 무엇이 셈을 초와도 초거나 라마시 봐도 삼제라고 그래. 라마 산속선을 쏘는데 대회는 되니 세배배 두게도 삼제라는지 삼제 강나 깨나 되고 로아를 또 소소는지 또 담게 뉴라 선 대식이 뭐지 용이 좀 삼제라니 요 차고 그래. 대신이 삼제 사지에 차리 그때 돈이 단 hinge 송들을 차고 들들 라마를 대바 뭐지 들 잡아서 뒤삼대 제가 좋아진 들려서 담도 선지바 선지감이 되니 생고마로 쏘았다고 뒤 조선 초경제 담제 홍소인데 이 초경제 철들 랑을 뜸는 가는데 초경 산쪽 설정고 올라 서 초경에 다 산지 망봉가 템비송상 또 산지도 산지에 쓰면 템을 산지에 쓰면 이 소리다 아직 차롱셔도 그 체비에 투기해 주는데 있다 농왕 마이크로 잡대요리 그래서 말을 봐더니 정말 배주 뭐 없는 저게 때문에 송요를 말을 봐 형다 장 시마로 이제 로마한테 장 검식 과시 육과시 누구 내가 말이지 얘는 누가면 나 세대 딱 봐요 그래서 농왕 가는 나 잡대요시 그래서 서서 왔다고 나 냠대 요래서 오 라마통 남과를 차벼온 거래더니 남과를 가차면 되지 나 돈이기처럼 돈이 가차면 니기가 참 니기를 안 하고 되더니 유몽과 세구는 유몽도 매일이 이 시간은 매인 거래 제일 안 하고 되더니 다다다다 소리 의심하면 나서봐 답을 들리다니 되니 사용을 해 마음이 가로 따라서 내가 무보다 지만이 동해 참을 뛰고 와도 셔들랑을 들이다다다 재미 속에 라마다는 산지에서는 제일 라마는 좀 다른 산지에 두고 그래. 말이 밖에 양 파신 적성을 되나. 자기 산지에 미니 왜라고 생각이 되지. 산지에 통을 라고 생각 철다는 조건만이 산지에 대다 육사네 답지 요로 도제 되라서 산지 육사야지. 나 산지 근에서 가 산지 근이라고 생각을 요래. 라고 생각 시가도 산지에서 하거나 이 가리시를 하고 나디미를 하고 그래. 나디도 저걸 삼신제 그래. 책을 통제시 받아 미제를 보고 너는 삼신제들 라마리 대라고 보고 그래. 오 서로 삼신제시를 때 람세브리 대라고 보고 그래.
Then it says, your boundless compassionate activities are all embracing. So this boundlessness is boundless because there is no dualistic thought, no dualistic grasping. And within the ultimate space-like nature, Buddhas and sentient beings are not separate. Self and other are not separate. And because we have not realized that, we are like ice blocks floating on the ocean. It is said that the guru is the warmth that then melts these ice blocks on the ocean. So through, there's this quote that says, through having brought to fruition the experiences of bliss, clarity, and non-conceptuality, the guru has found within the empty mind great compassion. And this compassion arising from within the empty mind is the unobjectified, unconceptual, non-conceptual compassion. It is great and all-pervasive compassion. Wherever space pervades, emptiness pervades, and wherever emptiness pervades, great compassion pervades. It is also said that emptiness has compassion at its core. Also, and is mentioned in the Chakosamvara practice. The essence of the deity is this union of emptiness and compassion, or this immeasurable compassion, unobjectified compassion that pervades wherever space pervades, is inseparable from the space like Dharmakaya. And so therefore ultimately all sentient beings have that nature. They possess Buddha nature, and that Buddha nature is ultimately the mind of the Guru, the all-pervasive mind of the Guru. Because they have not recognized that, temporarily they are controlled by confused perceptions of believing in the true existence, the concrete existence of appearances and their own ideas about appearances. So temporarily, the imprints of the 6 samsaric realms manifest before them. But that is just a temporary state, a karmic imprint. A karmic imprint arises first from self-grasping. And self-grasping is destroyed through a mind of great compassion. And that is the mind of the Guru, a mind of emptiness and compassion that is immeasurable. Immeasurable, so meaning that wherever space pervades, that is where the Guru's mind is. And the Guru's mind is a mind of love. And it is like the warmth that melts the ice block. In the supplication prayer of the fivefold path of Mahamudra, it says, I supplicate to the Guru Bodhicitta. So Bodhicitta is the Guru. So to understand that, we have to understand that the actual Guru is the love in your own mind that you have to experience for yourself. And then when you experience it, then you will recognize that this is the actual Guru. And love is a quality that actually all beings possess, all beings in the 6 realms of samsara. For example, all animals and so on possess love, because they all possess Buddha nature. And whoever possesses Buddha nature possesses love just naturally. Love is by nature pervasive. So this is how the Buddha really dwells within all sentient beings, as this union of emptiness and compassion that is all pervasive. So when you really develop faith and devotion to the Guru, then you will recognize that it is actually love, that is actually the Guru. What you are devoted to is love. And also in the context of refuge and in the beginning cultivating the motivation of bodhicitta, now normally we supplicate to the 3 jewels, and we invite the refuge tree, this field of accumulation, to come and then dissolve into us. So what's actually happening here when the refuge field dissolves into us is that their bodhicitta dissolves into us. So we think that on the outer level there's all these many beings in this field of accumulation, but what really happens in this dissolution is love dissolving into us. And as love dissolves into us, the ice block of self-grasping is melting. And so this mind of love, the Guru's mind, pervades the 5 elements everywhere. There's one story about Milarepa in the 100,000 Songs of Milarepa that you should read. And so it was just before Milarepa had passed into nirvana. His disciples supplicated him, please, Lama, do not die, stay with us. And Milarepa replied, the body is bound to die, but my mind will always be here, all pervasive, pervading the 5 elements. Whoever supplicates me, I will be together with them. So that is the mind of the Guru, all pervasive, ever pervasive, like space. And wherever space pervades, emptiness pervades. Wherever emptiness pervades, great compassion pervades. So the Guru is the embodiment of great compassion. And through great compassion, your 5 afflictive emotions will be destroyed or mature into the 5 wisdoms. And when the mind matures into this state, then the Pure Lands of the 10 directions and the center will naturally manifest, along with all the illusory pure forms of the deities. Just for as long as there is dualistic grasping, confused perceptions will continue to manifest. But what we need to understand is that ultimately we all have the same mind. Your own mind, the Guru's mind, and the Buddha's mind are all ultimately one. So the Guru's mind, therefore, ultimately is the Buddha's mind. Milarepa, when he gave teachings on the 6 paramitas, in that context he said, do not seek the Buddha elsewhere, anywhere else aside from your own mind. But look at the characteristics of your own mind and you will find the Buddha there. So now we think that there are these gurus. For example, a certain guru lives at a certain place, like in Bodh Gaya and so on. The gurus live in different places. But really, the actual guru dwells within your own mind. So your own mind is already, since it's still immature, it is like half a Buddha. But the Buddha is within your own mind. And whenever you eliminate self-grasping, you will realize that. And so to eliminate self-grasping, we need to cultivate immeasurable compassion. So in brief, immeasurable love and compassion, that is the mind of the Guru. And therefore, whoever possesses love and compassion should be seen as an embodiment of a Guru.
Lamas got the goose of Langon, Zongo, sorry, young Kedashi goes, married. Same decision, Lama is same day, Lama said in Ninja, particular not doing Yoya, the dancing at the less, Pachachi, Pachati shadow, and I shadow, but the minute to go, several rounds of shadow. Shard they were going to dancing, there's Lama something that you Lama the child yore. Daddy the pass Lama talked only the car yore, tap the tenny. This that is the turn of the meeting. You were Pacha the meeting, Pacha the check to go. Penetrating a party, season, Saya your married, take news to your married, Sasa Shamini or Marta Bahakole. Trade Penetrating so Subuka at the Hatam, zero draw in. Matura control and Tokasolia. Tokasolity, little, oh, that taught the Muji, teaching, oh, that is all the woman you want to worry, that is something you're some. She doesn't make a shepherd. That was a legacy, that didn't trade. Trade, come at a ninja, you will. This is she done with a shepherd, so what Yamala. It's the double and top of the dancing, you will. Dancing, Rangale, Pachagre. Molano got what I was to talk with. 3 did that and I chibo go to 3 years, the water, Ranatini, Sato Chibo, 3 years, 3 no water, 3 things to talk about Nita, no water, half of my daddy, Marquarne, March total to yin some matter. This double it, no hit of it, take a young way. No hit touch it, dancing, young way, dancing and you watching, he must know. He, they don't count that. Several legendary hardcore. Danny, oh, we ended out in double century time with the village. They hardcore, not that the little some yoga. Jimmy Mashi, oh, that's something to sad, thought over this. Got it from Marty there on the new data about Pena. This is it out there. No more doing this data over it. Hardcore, so you more, oh, that's a meat to gentility. Me give gentility. But the flag of Guinea with Achimuri, some glory. Guinea is a gone, Guinea is a gone. Gee, that one, so young one, go to glory. Send the Pachena Guinea. Or this Archibald, Martin or something, Guinea is the same sort of Boris. 오, 지네들이 생긴 민기래서. 다가 민기라는 공부인 상태는 선이 받치래, 다치다. 그 지네들이 되는 없거든, 럭터그 요래지. 도덕대사고 럭터고, 민기 맞지나? 그 동반으로 또 병고라고 차로 요래. 제일 째는 거제가, 이방 은혜에서 통을. 은혜지, 삼재가 요띠, 천행에서 난 톡지네들이 민기에서 하고서를 뭐더나? 상식이 꼽들이 랑나 피바다 얘가 돼가지. 오, 랑 코가 통만 다니 박차. 저답 시작을 드리지는 이제 시작이요래. 별로 먼지게 뛰지는 흔히 생기 속 차를 세나. 오, 뒤초한 코는 매주분이 니기인 거래. 니기요가 따뜻해. 니기에 짜리 매면 많이 되게 생기 탐지 세 가렸다 냐 탐지 세 가렸지는 초학 가면 그것도 사로 돌으니 가까이 했어. 되게 되게 같이 대 독해도 같이 파시 서랑시자 대답이 좀 되면 좀 대답이 살모에 중대도 용띠 이게 용띠에서도 싸워는 이는 누가 또 롬메바 이만 상세제 세계 들어오는 저기 비다 저 제가를 저쪽으로 뛰어오는 용띠 가래도 말을 뛰어오는 용띠 가래도 몇 뛰어왔지 대답이데 얘네들 그네들 뛰어와라고 고래 대리 라마 대답 뛰어와라고 고래 오 여담 끼리도 뛰어와라고는 여담지 샘들 라마리 라마치도 뛰어와리지 라마산 촉생을 소한테 송을 철회시 받으면 철회 쪽에서 상신지를 같이 한장을 해야지 하고서 철회 강을 차면 좋아서 유라 상신지에서 되게 피받아 내가 떼토도 그래서 로열 마음이 그냥 심도 작을 뒤속에 내가 토고요 오나 철회 돼야 돼 능력은 철회 돼 재미를 토기는 철회 돼서 피니지에다 온다고 땅에 상신지 공부도 땅에 나만 이게랬어 삼일이 라마산 속성 의뢰를 했어. 들으려면 삼시들 이시쳐보지. 들이 속치보지 요래. 그래서 철회시 봐도 같이 보내는 거래. 근데 우리 내가 세고 데리고 그래. 삼일이 공대에 가르쳐주네. 그래서 삼걸 말이지. 이게 내까지 이제 또 어때 다소 내가 사지. 내가 돌게 돼야 이제는 좀 타톡 사지 공방 사지 고맙게 난디 자로인데 여기 자투처럼 틈 거래. 내 상계라고 그래. 이디 상 우리 자투처럼 똑같아가 됐다고 보는 이 쪽으로 상속선을 소한데 두긴 철회시 받지 안 돼. 철회지 이 자치 볼때 고고 해지.
So your boundless compassionate activities. So when there is no dualistic thought, great compassion, boundless compassion arises, and this boundless great compassion becomes an all-pervasive compassionate activity. So what we need to understand is that when great compassion arises, then one also engages in activity. One must engage in activity. And so what activity does one then engage in when great compassion arises? So, for example, now later in the bardo, when we come into the bardo, often people think that when they hear in the bardo, I have to remember the guru. So then maybe they think that the guru will just come to them and they will see the guru, and then the guru will take them by their hand, and then the guru will talk to them and so on. So they think that there's this guru coming to them. But it's really not like that at all. What comes to you is the guru of your Buddha nature. So what comes is the mind of the guru, and your mind and the guru's mind are one. So what comes to you is the guru's mind, and that is this an experience in the bardo. Otherwise, if we don't remember the guru, the bardo is a suffering experience. The bardo is an experience of self-grasping and all the karmic imprints that have been accumulated manifesting before one. So in reality, a bardo does not actually inherently exist. It is nothing else but a manifestation of your own mind. It doesn't exist aside from your own mind. And the reason why terrifying manifestations appear is due to self-grasping. And the guru appearing is the natural manifestation of love and compassion in your own mind. When self-grasping diminishes, then naturally the guru's empty mind will be recognized as ever-present and all-pervasive. So when the guru's mind then arises in your mind, then the afflictive emotions, the suffering, karmic imprints all become eliminated. And that is through the love of the guru arising in your mind. When the love of the guru arises in your mind, then all of these karmic imprints manifesting in the bardo will diminish. Ultimately, you then recognize is that there is no duality between a manifestation, a bardo manifestation, and someone to whom these manifestations appear. These appearances do not exist separately from yourself. For example, in terms of now these enlightened, compassionate activities, an ordinary example is, for example, two friends who love each other very much, and one day they get angry at each other and they fight. So at that time, one should remember the qualities of that friend. Remember the qualities and the good things they have done before, and how we all share a samaya with each other, also a dharma samaya, and how we should not be angry with one another. So that then that reflection of compassion, of love, then must manifest as a compassionate activity. It becomes a direct activity. So the direct effect of cultivating love for your companion then is that the anger will go away. And when the anger goes away, then you will obviously no longer fight with each other. So the fighting then stops. So that's the enlightened activity, the activity that then occurs out of love and compassion. And so all the suffering in this world comes from self-grasping, from negative karmic imprints and corrupt aspirations. For example, one may think that I want everything for myself, and at the cost of whatever it takes, even if it means harming others. And then they cause harm towards many thousands of sentient beings, not understanding really what they're actually doing. And that is due to ignorance, due to selfish ignorance. All they care about is their own gain, their own benefit, and they have no regard for others whatsoever. They do not even have any consideration for that other beings may have feelings. And so this is really the root of all suffering in the world. It comes down to self-grasping, which leads to the afflictive emotions. And then there is no recognition of that at all. There's no awareness of that at all. And they will just not go ahead and see other sentient beings like rocks and inanimate objects and do to them whatever they want. It is because they do not understand karma. And in the end, they will only lose out themselves. And on the other hand, somebody who does understand karma, they will catch themselves and immediately recognize that if I do this, that will cause limitless suffering to others. So they will immediately stop themselves from doing that. So the fault here, the fault of the person not understanding karma, is just the afflictive emotions. And then the quality of one who does understand is that they, even though the affliction arises, they can transform it into primordial wisdom and immeasurable compassionate activity. So great compassion has activity. There must be activity to great immeasurable compassion. And this is how we should understand Chenrezig. We think that Chenrezig is very precious. And often we then visualize the form of Chenrezig, and then when we see this form of Chenrezig, we say that this is Chenrezig and he's so precious. But that's not all that is to Chenrezig. Now anybody can paint an image or visualize an image. But what Chenrezig really is a mind of love and compassion. And the mind of Chenrezig is really what's most important. It is his compassionate mind. So when compassion arises, that should be recognized as the actual Chenrezig. So obviously what is more powerful? Is it the form of Chenrezig or is it his compassion? The form, a body alone cannot really accomplish much if you don't have that life force of compassion in it. If you just have a body and no compassion, then you just have some material matter that is just empty and meaningless. So the real power comes from the mind of compassion. And the mind of compassion, the quality of this mind is compassionate activity. It engages, this mind engages naturally in activity. So this is how we should understand Chenrezig to be. A mind of love and compassion. And when you cultivate love and compassion, it is your own benefit and it is the happiness of others. So yourself, you have accumulated self-grasping and karmic imprints since beginningless time. The moment Chenrezig love arises within you, all of these karmic imprints accumulated since beginningless time all will collapse within this state of great compassion. And for example, there are some people who possess such compassion. And when they go to, for example, a place where animals are being slaughtered, an unbearable feeling of compassion arises in them. They cannot bear to look at that. And that is a sign of compassion. A person who doesn't have any compassion, when they go to a place where animals are being slaughtered or where fish are being killed, for example, they don't have a special feeling at all. They just see those animals as rocks and stones and so on, and earth, without any special feelings. They just don't see them as actually equal to themselves. So it doesn't affect them. And then even worse, there is some who go out and kill others and then they even kill themselves. So this is someone who has no understanding of karma whatsoever. And so that leads to these kind of faults. Once one gives rise to a mind of love, one naturally will not want to cause any harm towards anyone. Even within the animal realm, when an animal is more loving, they will help each other, protect each other instead of harming each other. So really think about the quality of an animal with great love or a human being with great love and so on. And then really recognize that it is this mind of love that is Chenrezig, and that mind of love, that is the guru. And that is the mind of the Yidam deity. So therefore, that's why we say the Yidam deity's mind is actually the guru. And that is the meaning of saying, I supplicate to the guru, that is bodhicitta. So when great compassion arises, that then manifests as compassionate activity. So then one only engages in altruistic activities that benefit others. And whoever gives rise to love and compassion is able to benefit others. Also, if you look at animals, for example, who are very loving, they are able to coexist in a very loving, happy way. So the more love one is able to generate, the more happiness one will naturally experience. And naturally, when compassion becomes great, it will manifest as compassionate activity, which is boundless compassionate activity. So therefore, what needs to be cultivated is a mind of love and compassion. The actual guru is bodhicitta. So that is something you need to develop very strong confidence or trust in. That the actual guru is your own bodhicitta. And so then with this mind, you must then engage in activities. and you naturally do engage in activities when love and compassion have arisen in your mind. And then the ultimate result will be the maturing into Buddhahood. And then you engage in the enlightened activities. And temporarily you engage in the activities of the higher realms, the compassionate activities in the higher realms, whereby the self-grasping, the ice block of self-grasping will melt and eventually merge to be one with the ocean of the Buddha's mind, so you become a Buddha. That is when all dualistic grasping has been cleared away, and you have merged to be one with all the Buddha's oceanic mind. So that is how we should understand just this one verse. I supplicate to the Guru that is actually bodhicitta. And so compassionate activity is an activity that comes from bodhicitta, and you should understand it to be a limitless, vast activity.
사지 좀 되게다 타바침 녹는 송을 아 보시는데 통송 때이 책도 좀다 공자고 다선들이 좋았지 아니 탄직삼띠 춘쇼나 감성감은 만남라 소시위는데 동체에서 감성심피서 찍소 좀다 다 비유 제주 대화지 얘랑 소디 좀는 소그래도 제야요 뭐 그거 내랑 박자 지선다고 요래 이 다들 재미지 재미에 투기 되게들이 마가달 마도도 우마서는 거 여기 감성 센치 뒤집으라 되지 타바게도 베네 람동이 요래 대외에 검대지 비용체에서 대외에 서도 온 거지 라미도 온 요래 라마 용진이 오 투긴 전에겠다 보다 라마 꽃도 소로고 투치고 아서 대다들 꽃도 뭐 따라들이 무슨 미적반 칼라적반 싸고는 돈을 라마 개비신이 탐지 싸지 못하고 그러지 이라리 소비면 손에 다다 신이 담바랑을 위해 장 기반도 바자세라니 송 지책도 라마 개비신이 이해로 기기 사마든 엠틀라서 봐 탐지 대답을 해서는 자치 못하고 요래 대사는 야고 요래 사막까지 심부리 사막 뚫고리에서 보트고요래 그러니까 일단 아침 참조가 얘기 되고 미소라 계속 지가 봐 오케이.
And then it says, incomparable Guru, at your feet I pray. So regarding the benefits of meditation, and so it is said that when the activities pervade, they pervade all the three realms of samsara. And so how is this a benefit of meditation? There is a quote by the Buddha that comes from the Great Liberation Sutra that I came across as when I was very young as a boy. And I always remember these words because these words really highlight the importance of meditation. And so that quote says, "It is of a greater benefit to spend a single session in meditative equipoise than it is to save the lives of all sentient beings in the three realms of samsara." So that's the quote. So naturally we would think that the greatest benefit, the greatest thing we can do is to save somebody's life. But on the other hand, we can't ultimately save somebody's life, everybody's life, because also everyone must follow their own karma. They have their own karmas and their own karmic imprints. But if compassion arises in the mind, there's another quote that says, "I will liberate those not liberated. I will release those not released. I will give breath to those without breath." So when great compassion arises, then sentient beings of the three realms are liberated simultaneously. So it is liberating, releasing, and giving breath happens simultaneously. So simultaneously, all sentient beings of the three realms of samsara are guided along the path to liberation. And the benefit comes from one's own meditation, because when you meditate, your mind pervades all these sentient beings. And so then who is the one who taught us this? It is the Guru. And again, when we look at the qualities of the Guru and his enlightened, compassionate activities, so we have said before, in terms of the jewels, the Guru's, or the kayas, the Guru's body is the Nirmanakayam, the speech, the Sambhogakaya, and the mind is the Dharmakaya. So regarding the body being the Nirmanakaya, the Guru is, for example, a human being just like us and eats the same food as we do. And yet we say that all the Gurus, the spiritual masters, are very precious. We should see them as all extremely precious. In the 37 Bodhisattva practices, it says that one should cherish one's Guru even more dear than one's own body. And so, and that refers to all the Gurus, all the spiritual masters of any vehicle, any class, all the teachers should be seen in this way. Because the reason why we should think of them in this way is because they all are extremely kind to us. And they all are really Nirmanakaya manifestations. So it would be really excellent if you would see them all in this way. So now we first take a break for 30 minutes.